I'm going to hell. Oh, well, who's coming with me? I'm going to hell. For what? For the murder of my enemies. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. My name is Harley Neville.
And I'm Guy Pigden. Who was that talented artist?
That was King 810 with their newish song Hellhounds.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's who that was. Here we are, new show, new level, we did the new level thing, but how is level 3 going for you? Now that we're allowed to eat fast food, that seems to be the big difference that I can see. We're allowed suddenly to congregate in restaurants to get fast food. That seems to be allowed now.
Yeah, so basically the difference between level 4 and level 3, from what I can see, is that new businesses, mainly restaurants and cafes and sort of those types of stores, have been made. They are now allowed to open, but respecting the rules of social distancing, etc., etc. They have to have contactless payment and all sorts of things. And then that also extends to online retail stores and places like that. And the post office. Some post offices are now open, so you can post things, which is quite.
Well, good. I might finally get my RAM.
Which is quite useful. So those are really the big differences. But allegedly, that accounts for 75% of the workforce going back to work. Yeah.
Right. Well, today I went for my walk today, and I walked past the highway, which I walked past the same place on my birthday. And on that day, it was absolutely silent next to the highway, really surreal. And then today I walked past it at roughly the same time. It was just normal rush hour, pretty much. Not quiet, but pretty busy.
Well, a disturbing statistic is that air pollution can. Oh my God, we're just doing some.
You in a literal
doing some
construction
DIY
site?
behind.
You in a literal?
Can we just tone down on the renovations? Can we tone down on those renovations while I'm trying to podcast, please?
It's a live show, people. It's a live show.
So, a disturbing statistic: air pollution.
I wish I had a girlfriend that could do DIY.
Air pollution from traffic has soared to levels higher than before alert level 4 in Auckland. And that is from 2 days at level 3. So there's more traffic on the roads than before the friggin' lockdown. Which, to be fair,
but that's partly because people were hiding.
Exactly. So that is a slightly misleading statistic, but it's still not a good statistic because essentially what's happened is we've taken this thing, most of us have taken this thing very seriously up until they said we're going down to level 3. And then it seems like at level 3, all bets are off. They're like, yeah, cool, we're at level 3 now. And it's like, guys, level 3 is fucking the same as level 4, except you can go to a cafe and someone hands out a coffee on a pole to you. That's really the yes, you can queue up and get some food at the drive-thru or whatever, but everything else is meant to be the same.
Well, level 3 is the second highest level.
And yet people are really treating it like a bit of a shit show. So yes, I was quite disturbed by the amount of people out and about just walking around and not respecting social, like I'm running around people, and they're sort of...
Yeah, but some people are so shit at it. You're like, mate, what are you doing? Just get over to the side. This is New Zealand. Keep to the left and passing, motherfucker.
Or at least signal your intentions. Pick a side. I'll go the other side. Just pick a side.
Exactly. The worst ones, though, are the people who just wander down the middle of the footpath and make you walk around them, because they don't give a fuck, because they're fucking
I particularly hate the two people traveling together. It's like cyclists traveling on a road, except it's walkers, and they're walking side by side, and it's like, look, just one of you motherfuckers for 1 second go behind or in front of the other, just so you don't fuck everybody over that is currently walking on that footpath. Do you think you could maybe do that?
Yeah.
Just that? Shit.
It's like a net, a COVID trawling net. You know, sometimes you get these young families and they're out there and it's mum, dad, and, you know, two little snots on
The
bikes.
worst.
And they're all hooning about everywhere and they're all spread the fuck out. So you've got no choice but to walk through their COVID dragnet, you know, at some point.
The COVID slipstream. It's a little bit disturbing. So I feel like we have done very well in New Zealand. Our government has done very well. There's absolutely no denying that up until this point. And now I feel like the shackles have been let off, or people have assumed that the shackles have been let off. And now it's like, oh, well, business as usual, because we only had one new case yesterday and one probable case, and today we've had 3 cases, but they're all very low. And I think the mistake that people make is they go, cool, only one new case? Well, what are the chances of me getting it if there's only one new case? And it's like, well, that's one new case that we know of. That's the very important distinction there. So it's like, yes, but there could be many COVID carriers, and they've talked about this as well, which is that the disease can, or the virus, I should say, can sort of stay in your system and not manifest itself for a very long period of time. And in fact, they're talking about dodging a bullet with someone who had it since they came back from overseas, got checked out, seemed to be fine, everything was fine, and then just as like a safety, like they didn't have any symptoms, but like 3 or 4 weeks later, they're like, I'll just double check, I'll just get a check, and they had it. And it's people like that that will, potentially infect a huge amount of other people, just again, totally by accident and not being aware. And that's the risky thing, because if we got to keep them numbers down, man. Numbers got to stay down.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, for me, I've been feeling a little unmotivated and down a little bit on level 3, to be honest. Obviously I expected to feel happy when we got to level 3, but I think it's actually, because before level 3, I had this naive optimism that perhaps as we came out of level 4, we'd all emerge this wiser, enlightened species, that would come out and go, whoa, man, we need to stop all of this. Oh, I can't believe it. I've gone 4 weeks without McDonald's. Why would I have it now? That type of thing. I thought we'd come out these enlightened beings. And so to see, rubbish being thrown on the ground again, as soon as McDonald's can open, people buy it and then take it to the nearest park and litter it everywhere, and all that type of thing. It's just a little disappointing, really. It kicks the old, squashes the last little embers of my optimism for the future of humanity. So I'm sure it'll get better, though. I'm sure as time goes on. I mean, the other thing that is an issue for me is that it literally makes no difference. This is day 35 for me of lockdown, really, because, nobody's employing me to do anything at the moment. Nobody needs me to do anything. I've got nobody to go and, visit, that's in my bubble type thing. Well, I've got no reason to be going out doing anything more than what I normally do in level 4. So it's kind of all the same to me.
Well, it is kind of all the same, and unfortunately, it's just that people aren't treating it like it's all the same. But it's interesting because I was, reflecting upon this, because it's been 5 weeks. It's been 5.5 weeks, really, since.
Yeah, and it's getting hard up in here, waking up all on my lonesome, fucking staring at the roof at 11 a.m. I'm like, I set my alarm for 9:30, and I wake up, and I'm like, well, there's no point in actually getting up. Wake up at 11 a.m.
Well, 11 a.m. sounds a little optimistic if you ask me, but
No, I get sad when I get up much later than that. Like the other day, I woke up at 11:40 and I was like, God, what an absolute waste!
What a piece of shit!
Space I am.
I'm such a piece of shit. Why?
Such a piece of shit.
I don't even want to go on.
Well, so it's like, well, what am I going to do? Get up and do what? Like sit in this very room that I'm already sitting in? Might as well sit here comfortable and warm in my bed for a little bit longer, you know. And then obviously I get productive in the afternoon and evening. That's when I start getting productive through until about midnight. Now until midnight. Yeah, look, well, I'm kind of the same. Those are my daily walks. I've gone for a walk virtually every day for 35 days or so.
I'm kind of the same as you in the sense that my peak productivity is in the afternoon and evenings. But I obviously have to get up at a normal hour to teach my class. So for me, to be honest, like, I think the most alarming thing is that my life has been exactly the same. It really has been. The only difference is that I don't go to the gym. That's probably the big difference. But like, if I really had to break down like my time in quarantine, I'm like, yep, doing all the same things. And I am lucky because I've kept my job. So that's one reason that my routine hasn't changed. It's just, that commute to my desk is a lot easier. But then, the converse, so you go, oh, it's so easy because now you just have to talk to your students on the computer. Well, actually, that's really difficult because whenever they have a problem, it's very hard to troubleshoot that issue. Normally, you just look over their shoulder and go, cool, just let me have the mouse for a second and I'll make a couple changes and you'll be all sorted. Now it's like, it's just a mystery of like, well, what the hell are you doing this? Like you essentially become an IT support person for your students because you're like, well, have you tried this?
Yeah. I've been doing
have you tried, did you turn it on and off? What about this? Have you clicked on this little icon on the left-hand side of your browser? Which means that you actually spend more time troubleshooting sometimes than you do actually teaching anything. Also you have to prepare an overwhelming amount more because, I can't just sit and talk for 3 hours. In fact, the thing that we use to record, I don't think can record for 3 hours in a row. So essentially you have to prepare a lot more material, which is just more work, but it's more work sitting at your computer. So I'm just sitting at my computer more. If anything,
you should start charging them for the Switch.
Well, I should start. I mean, to be fair, I should be like, look, guys, but I don't want to rock the boat. Obviously, I don't want to remind people that I'm around because then they might start asking, should I really be around?
Well, that's a good point. Keep your head under the radar. Keep your head below the parapet.
Exactly.
That's my work advice for any workplace. Keep your head below the parapet.
And what is a parapet?
It's in a castle, the traditional defensive position. The teeth
turrets
that you see on the top of a. A turret is a different thing.
All right, Professor.
These are the teeth that you see at the top of a castle. That's the parapet, and you shoot between them.
And the idea is you keep below it so you don't get an arrow to the head.
So you don't get hit. Exactly, you got it. So that means don't draw any attention to yourself at work. Show up, do a passable job, get the job done, be reliable, be there on time, and then get the hell out. Yeah. No personal politics.
So it has been interesting, but just if I'm reflecting on my 5 weeks, very glad I got to make a short film in that time, and maybe we'll talk about that in a bit. But last time we spoke, I was a bit low energy because I had literally just finished a shoot day, and in fact, I think we did another shoot day after that. So it was pretty hectic, but
how many days was it meant to be?
It was meant to be 3 days. Wound up
and how many days was
6 days, so double the amount. But
so it's about 50%.
50%.
I was wrong. I said 30%.
50% too ambitious. But I also will say those last 3 days were all, I would say, make up more to probably 1 day. So it's probably 4 days in total because it was 3 days of bits and pieces and wait for it to get dark, wait for it to it's light, quickly do some stuff, chill out sort of thing. So no full shoot days, you would say, apart from those first 3. So I'd say, more like 4 days. So 30% is accurate. 30% is accurate. 25 to 30 is probably exactly accurate. Probably add 30%, bang on. But also, I think one of the important things about filmmaking, or it's important to me, is that you should always be aiming, like whatever your goal is, whatever your goal for that film is, it should always be at the cusp of your skills and abilities. So it should always be on the borderline of.
You could almost say that the will has to be stronger than the skill.
You could say that. Muhammad Ali said that. He's a great
I believe that's a quote from
A great man once said that. But you should always be aiming to be just on the fringe, so it's outside of your comfort zone. You definitely know that it is ambitious and it's going to be hard, but you think you can pull it off just. And that's where I like to sit.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Because if you kind of go, look, we'll scale it back, we'll do the comfortable version. Yeah, that's fine, but there's no growth and there's a lot less challenge. And look, it's nice to be comfortable on set, but because we only get to set, a few times, in a year, I feel like.
Well, that's maybe if we were doing the trimmed down version, though, we'd get onto set a lot more times per year.
Well, maybe.
That's the thing. You get quicker things done.
Sure.
Less ambitious, but still funny and entertaining things. Like the Guy and Harley, original Guy and Harley skits. They're low ambition. They're easy to do, but they're good content for the listeners, for the viewers.
They are good content. But are they as good as COVID Man? I'm not sure.
Well, there's only one way to find out. We'll see when you release it.
We will.
But ideally, we'd do both anyway.
So I've been working on that. I've just finished that off.
The edit?
No, I'm nowhere near finished the edit. But my plan is so I'm approaching my term break, which is 2 weeks, starting from this weekend. So my plan is to tackle the edit in the first week of that break. So that's where that at. But I will also say, just on that note of that short film, the days before we were about to do it, I was feeling very lethargic. I was feeling very unprepared. I was, I like to be very meticulous with my shoots in terms of doing my shot list well in advance, having everything very well thought out and planned out, and having a very good plan. And I was doing it all of those things, my shot lists, my scheduling on the night before we were scheduled to start. And on those days, and again, I need to separate my brain from my sort of work brain from my creative brain. I was also teaching my students in the days. So I was sort of creating all these problems for myself, and I was starting to feel a bit sick. I felt COVID coming back. I was getting a cough, and I was like, oh my God, I'm low energy. I'm totally unprepared. I don't know how I'm going to fucking do this. And maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should just give up right now, and I'll just say, look, call it off. Can't do it. Can't be done. And I had that thought. I had that distinct thought, and I sort of eventually wrestled it down and rejected it and said, no, look, you got to give it a go, especially, this is a unique scenario. Maybe it'll be once in a lifetime. Let's hope we're not on level 4 again. So let's try and do something interesting in that time. And so I sort of rejected those notions and pushed through. But I think it's
an inspirational story. It's an inspirational story for any filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers out there.
I think it's more.
Keep at it, kids. And if you're wondering if you should, the answer is
yes. I think it's more to do with that. The creative doubt will always sink in with every project, and you can sort of let it cripple you. And you can just kind of go, okay, well, fucking forget it then. Or you can go, look, I've just got to do it. If it fucking sucks, it fucking sucks, but at least I tried. And so I think that you've got to reject that voice, that niggly little voice that's in the back of your ear going, come on, mate. Are you fucking serious? You got to try and shoot these 15 pages in 3 days? Fucking come off it. You're dreaming. Go home. You're already home. Go to bed. Stay in bed till 11:40. Don't get up. There's no point. Just stare at the roof. That's all that's going on. So, but that was, to be honest, I don't. When it's something that we're shooting, I very rarely have that feeling of like, shit, this is gonna be a disaster. I'm gonna fuck it all up, and I should maybe give up. I don't normally have that at that stage. I have that feeling at other stages of the process, but definitely not just before filming. Normally, I'm super G'd up, and I'm sort of ready to ready to do it and excited about doing it, but I was definitely not excited. But once we started filming, those first couple of shots was in the can, I was like, yep, I'm feeling it. I'm back, baby, as George Costanza would say. Yeah, it was the end of my little story. The creative doubt. So if you've got some creative doubt going on, COVID-19, I feel makes it harder.
Ride through it.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Now we better acknowledge all the we've gone viral, which is great. We've gone by Mum, we've gone viral because we've got our 5 viewers on the live stream. So shout out to them. And one of them is Deep Red on YouTube, aka Neem Hegarty, and he's saying one good thing to come out of this pandemic is that we have regular episodes of the Guy and Harley podcast.
We're a little bit more consistent.
Thursdays at 7 p.m. Thursdays at 7 p.m. That's what we're currently aiming for, and we're basically sticking to. And this will stay the same for as long as I'm unemployed, which might end up being a very, very long time.
So there's hope.
Yeah. And if you'd like to continue supporting the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/Pigville and give us $1 a month or whatever. $1 a show. That's all we ask. And then it'll support this show and maybe keep us fed. Now, it is time for our favorite segment, Guy, which is...
The Troll Hole. That's pretty good.
For Skype, that wasn't bad. This is not bad. So we got a comment on the original WCRP on YouTube from somebody called Clam Lapper 2048. Clam Lapper 2048 says... Looks like ideas sunk to a new low and trying way too hard to be funny, but failing miserably is prevalent. So that's a comment on one of our old. I
like how he was, just the failure was prevalent in everything we attempted there. I enjoy the use of the word prevalent there. So good job to Clam Lapper.
I mean, that don't English, I don't think, but yeah, good on him. And I also did this viralish post on Facebook. Now, have you got access to that yet, Guy?
Just see, Kiwis so being Kiwis have not accepted me.
No. Okay. Well, so what happened was I posted a status on Facebook that a bunch of people would have seen. But what I also posted it. I didn't just post it on Facebook, on my Facebook. I also posted it in the Kiwis Being Kiwis Facebook page, which is like a lowest common denominator sort of, big page for dumb people where they post stupid memes and fight and bicker about dumb stuff, and it's the type of thing that makes you depressed about humanity when you pay too much attention to them. Now I'm a member of them because I want to post my dumb shit in there because I know that our content appeals to the lowest common denominator. So I'm a member of that page and I occasionally post things in there. So speaking of level 3, this was the morning of level 3 in New Zealand. There was a headline and a photo, and people had been lining up at the McDonald's drive-through at 3 a.m., even though they didn't open until 5 a.m., and they were lining up there, and the queues were so big that they were backing out of the McDonald's car park, out onto the street, and then out onto the highway. They were literally blocking the highway because there was these fatties waiting for their McDonald's at, whatever time in the morning. And the McDonald's sold out by 11 a.m. They had planned, they're open 24/7 for crying out loud. How do they sell out? How many days worth of food did they sell before 11 a.m. to sell out? Anyway, so I posted a status about it. I posted that.
Are you going to read? Are you going to read that status? Okay.
Yeah, I was going to. Yeah. That was my plan. So I posted the article, and here's what accompanied it. I said, I've just gone 4 weeks with no mindless consumerism. So the first thing I'm going to do is drive my fossil fuel burning car out to support an internationally owned corporation that makes its money by underpaying staff and destroying the environment. But wait, there's more. I'm such a despicable shitbag that after a 4-week stay of execution, I'm immediately going to use my money to demand the continued murder and torture of animals on an industrial scale. All this so that I can clog up my arteries and make myself a burden on the healthcare system in the future. If you don't like it, tough shit. You can go fuck yourself, New Zealand.
Now, would you say that that post was somewhat inflammatory and troll-like in nature? Because well, to be honest, you trolled me with that one. I was reading it and I forgot that you're Harley Neville, and I forgot for a second. And I was about to write a comment on it, not like you're full of shit, Harley, or anything like that, but more like, well, hey mate, you haven't really considered a couple of things here. And then I stopped myself and I realized what was going on, and I realized that I had been hook, line, and sinker by Harley's fucking posts about this. Yeah. But, it's mindless concern. Go easy, mate. And also then I realized, was this an honest rant of a do-gooder, a man of the people, or a bitter McDonald's reject who had been turned down from the place of employ years ago and had a chip on his shoulder a mile long.
Ever since they rejected me for a job, I had a chip on my shoulder with fucking McDonald's, okay?
And it was a real bone to pick. So anyway, then I realized that I'd got, as they say, by your thing, and I didn't bother to post that.
Actually,
because I realized what you had done, entrapment. But so you posted this Facebook entrapment, but you posted this on Kiwis Being Kiwis, and you got some doozy responses, which sadly you'll have to read all of them because
because
I'm not a member.
Guy is not part of the lowest common denominator audience. So this thing has had 445 reacts, right? And 340 comments. So I'm just going to read every single one of them.
All right, let's go.
Now, look, lots of them are on my side. Heaps of them are on my side. And it's worth noting, actually, that there was 400 and something, and there was no angry reacts. Literally none. Couldn't believe it. So anyway... so I did get one immediately prior to coming on air. I just got this notification, and this was from somebody this was commenting on my Facebook page, and they go, now his name's Alfie Strickland, and he goes, "What a soy latte drinking, whiny, sad, attention-seeking, druggy, desperate, washed up, aging hipster you are." You like that? You like it?
That's good. That hit a lot of high notes there. Yeah, it's good.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, the worst burns of the trillist, but I'll have you know, Alfie, you motherfucker, that I drink full-fat dairy milk in my lattes.
All right.
So fuck you.
What's the next one?
But the rest of it's true. The rest of it's true. Now, some people actually went through 10 years of my photos and got a photo of me, and I'm standing outside McDonald's, and Ronald McDonald was praying, and this was my first time overseas ever. And I was in Thailand, and Ronald McDonald was praying in his statue, and I stood beside him, and my friend Hamish stood on the other side of him, and we did the praying thing. And I commented... And I posted that, 10 years ago, and said, I love foreign food. I love foreign food. I try McDonald's everywhere I go, or something like that. I really love international food. I try McDonald's everywhere I go.
Now, solid piece of humor there. Clearly,
exactly.
There's,
I mean, it in itself is actually a shot at globalization. It's a joke about globalization. That's what that was. It was completely a pot shot at McDonald's about globalization, as Ronald McDonald prays for the future of humanity, which he is simultaneously destroying. So excellent
Deep.
excellent piece. And so these people brought it up though and took it at face value, saying I really love international food. I try McDonald's everywhere I go. And so that was their retort to me for posting this anti-McDonald's thing, was that I'm a hypocrite and that I actually go to McDonald's. But
I mean, it takes a special kind of person, and this obviously happens all the time, is whenever someone posts some type of comment on something that winds someone else up, they fucking go and research them on the internet and try and find a sort of a contradiction to their statement, in this case, this McDonald's photo. But it's so strange that you could affect someone so much that they are so fired up by this that they scroll through 10 years of photos, and you've got a shit ton of photos.
I got a fuck
so
ton of
they're
photos.
just
That's from they found this photo from 2011.
so they're scrolling through 9 years of photos. I got to find some dirt on this guy. I got to turn this round. I've got to turn this round on him. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just keep scrolling until I find something, and I'm gonna shove it in his face. I'm gonna get him. And
another photo that
and also what they
another photo.
Well, what they don't realize is they're getting themselves by spending that amount of time on this troll, they entrollment is what it is. But anyway, so what was the other photo?
So another one was they went through and they got a picture of me holding a big hot dog, and it could be any type.
Could
of
be
hot
vegan.
Dog. It might not be meat. It could be vegan, but it's a big bent hot dog, and and the caption says nothing beats a big bent one, and. This is genius stuff. So, but of course they posted that as well. Now the thing is, when I posted that, I was like, oh, I really don't want to endorse meat publicly on my Facebook page. I don't want to endorse meat, but I do want to make a joke about big bent dicks.
You were torn.
I posted it, and now look, it's come back to haunt me.
It's shall we say, that big bent one has blown up in your face.
It has. It really has. So people are commenting, haha, mate, calm down, mate. Sounds like you need a Big Mac. And have a Snickers, you sound mad. And gay. And take the cock out your mouth and have a steak. And just another angry vegan. Now, can you believe it? That they have the fucking gall to call me a vegan. Incredible. Anyway, so obviously can't cook. I know that was talking about the people going to McDonald's. All right. And so they go on, if you could see it, you would have been able to pick out some of your things. What somebody says, I agree, you are a despicable shit.
That was good. That's good.
And so on. I mean, there's literally hundreds of them. So
there's some gems. So you should join that group and have a look and have a laugh. And I also...
Yeah, well, you should, because I posted it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/GuyAndHarley. So if you go there right now and scroll down just a little bit, you'll be able to click on that and scroll through the comments at your leisure.
Yeah, so I should also, we've just read some of the comments. Some would say that a lot of those are somewhat unkind. I just want to read out some of the group.
Aging hipster. That hurts. That
really cut you deep, that one.
That gets
the group rules. Be kind and courteous. We're all in this together.
This is the group rules of the group that I posted.
This is for Kiwis being Kiwis. This is their rules. Create a welcoming environment. Let's treat everyone with respect. Healthy debates are natural, but kindness is required. Well, no hate speech or bullying. Make sure everyone feels safe. Bullying of any kind isn't allowed. Degrading comments about things like race, religion, culture.
I wasn't bullying.
No.
You see, I was speaking in the first person, saying that I do these things. I was talking about myself.
Well, also, you were creating a healthy debate, which is natural.
I was. About a very important topic.
So anyway, it's just funny how, of course, no one adheres to any of these rules when they respond to you.
No.
So that's brilliant. I just feel like there's a stuff article in the works for this one. Yeah, you know, I feel like there's
perhaps if I'd sent it to them at the time, I could have like rustled up a stuff article or a Herald article or something like that. You know, so you know how they do those dumb social media updates where it's like, you know, local man thinks this about McDonald's, and it's my status, but maybe they wouldn't want to be seen to be encouraging that type of status.
I will say that I certainly have enjoyed my local takeaways these last 2 days.
Yes, I was going to ask. What? So I was like, because I didn't receive a like or anything from you.
No, I couldn't really like it. There's too many contradictions in there for my personal tastes, but so I couldn't really give that a like on that one.
So I just assumed that you must have you were one of those fat people in the queue at 5 a.m.
No, I haven't been to McDonald's, and I don't really plan to be. Look, McDonald's is addictive. They put addictive ingredients in their food to make people come back. You know, there is a lot of stuff that is very addictive in McDonald's. Now, this South Ice this month has cured me of my addiction. You know, I don't have any
don't start it up again.
Any cravings. So myself and my girlfriend are trying to steer clear of McDonald's, but we do want to support local businesses. We do want to support local cafes and restaurants. So we did take a dip to Hal's Pizza, which was very tasty. Good old welcome to Hal. And we also went to a Korean place as well. So both of those were very good. They seem to have their sort of contactless transactions going quite well. Although, yes, I think it's funny. Like, look, we're being funny here with these comments, but everyone's got their vices, man. Everyone has their vices, and for some people, it is fast food, you know. And it's a drug like alcohol or smoking or anything more extreme, you know. And that's, you know, I think also no one's got anything to fucking do, and so now they have a reason to go somewhere. Even if it's to sit in a queue, well, what the fuck else were they going to do? So I feel like there's a bit of that as well. But
yeah, absolutely.
But it is funny to see where people stand on that one. And I think if you were craving Macca's, you went to get Macca's, I think that's absolutely fine. If you continue to go to Macca's every day from now on, that's where the problems begin.
Well, on this related topic, we did have a listener question from Wazza, Sexy 160 listener Wazza. Now I'm going to change it. This was Niam's suggestion to the CD 160 because it fits more with the Sifty 150 and
CD.
All that stuff.
I like it. It's a good contribution, Niam. Thank you.
Yeah. So the CD 160, which means those Sexy 160 t-shirts available are extremely limited edition. Just saying. I'm going to post it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. Now, we haven't taken pictures of that yet, us wearing those T-shirts yet, but they are cool T-shirts, so go check them out, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. Now, Warren did this, asked us for listener topics. He said, how triggered were you when you saw this on the first day of lockdown? And what he sent is the photo of a huge group of people outside of Burger King. He said, how triggered
was it a Burger King or a Burger Fuel?
Burger Fuel. Burger Fuel. So people all outside Burger Fuel, and there's a big group of them. And he said, how triggered were you when you saw that? Now, the thing is that I was already triggered by then, I was already triggered. By that stage, I'd already posted
that rant.
I woke up, I checked my Facebook, and in bed, you know, it was 11 a.m. or whatever it was, and I was on Facebook, and I saw the McDonald's one, and then I posted that McDonald's one, so I'd already blown my
trigger load.
I'd already pulled the trigger. On that one.
You already cocked the trigger, and
shot my load.
Took your shot. Shoot your shot. You shooted your shot. So anyway, for me, I was a bit triggered by the burger. So I don't care about people queuing up for McDonald's. That's fine. But I do care about people not social distancing, queuing up for fucking burger fuel, because to me,
in a car,
yeah, exactly. So they're at least hopefully adhering to the social distancing. But when you're clearly not, and you're clearly with a group of other people that are not, do you all just, to me, I would walk and see that big queue of people, and I go, well, fuck, I ain't going over there.
I'm not going there.
Simple as that. I don't need a burger that fucking much.
That is definitely non-essential.
To flaunt these rules, to put people at risk, to put myself at risk. But again, I think it goes back to that thing of like the invisible threat, which doesn't seem like a threat. We all just sit, fuck, I'll be fine. It doesn't mean anything. And it's like,
I'm bored of this game. Can we skip this level? Does anybody know the cheat codes to skip this level?
But the last thing that we want to be talking about is the burger fuel cluster. And the crazy thing...
Well, that's a good point.
The crazy thing...
Burger fuel should be careful.
The crazy thing about all these COVID clusters, they're from like a tiny source that has blown up, from one small source, obviously from one person, and then just multiplied. And all those big clusters are from like being at a bar, being at a wedding, being at one particular school. And that's
going to the St. Patrick's Day.
Like all of those clusters are from one sort of thing, which was essentially one place where everyone was, where someone spread it to everyone else. And those ripples are still being felt today. Like a lot of those cases are like, it's another case coming from one of those clusters. So don't create another fucking cluster. Don't create a clusterfuck, you fucks. So yeah.
Yes, please don't do
that. I was a little bit. I was also triggered by that particular photo, just because it's dumb. Like, who cares? It's a burger. Get the burger tomorrow. Get the burger tomorrow.
This is the concern. This is the thing that makes me depressed. It's not about the burgers. It's about the overall understanding of what we're working with in terms of what our society will do and won't do, and what they're capable of, what it's possible to get the general public to do, and all that type of thing. It's interesting to see what level we're at. How much control does the government have?
I will say,
it's disconcerting, because it's like, surely you'd go, I've just gone 4 weeks social isolating. Now I'm just going to stand here next to all these people because we're all getting a burger. But obviously it feels wrong, right? We're not supposed to be close to each other.
Yeah, we're not all looking at each other guiltily, full of shame and regret.
Exactly. Well, that's the issue. I think there's a bunch of people that don't believe it. They're just too dumb or whatever. Like, for example, I was at the supermarket and there was like this kid like following me basically, but his parents and definitely piercing my bubble, the little turd, and his parents weren't like in any way controlling him, and he was running around and touching the handrails, and then piercing my bubble, and so I think some people just don't give a fuck. They're those people that walk straight down the middle of the footpath. They don't give a fuck.
I do think there is an interesting hypothetical question to be posed here, well, at least for me anyway, is that we as 37-year-old fucking hipsters, aging hipsters, aging past I'm never going to be hipsters. Never was it. Yeah. So it's cool for us fucking checking our fucking RNZ feeds through the day and blah blah blah, thinking like everyone's got to follow the rules and blah blah blah. But what would 17-year-old Harley Neville do? What would 17-year-old Guy Pigden do? Because I feel that I would be taking a very different stance. I would not be accepting my social responsibility. I would be much more blasé about it because it wouldn't be impacting my world. And I feel like I might, and I wouldn't be as quote unquote well read about the subject or the topic. I probably wouldn't understand even the fucking concept of flattening the curve necessarily, because I don't think anyone would have shared that particular article with me. And I feel like, how do you reach the kids? But what do you think?
Do you really? The kids are pretty.
But do you really think that you, 17-year-old Harley Neville, would be thinking the way you're thinking right now?
Pretty much, I think I would be on the side of the government for that one. I reckon I would, particularly today. Like, as in, me, 17-year-old me in 1999 or whatever. Okay, maybe not, but a big part of it is that back then there was no internet, so I had no information. But nowadays everything's so connected. I reckon that in high schools it's uncool to say that COVID's not real and to not take COVID seriously. I reckon that most high school kids are like pretty onto it and like, you know, they'll still be sneaking out, but it'll be to have sex and stuff. And that's the type of thing that I would have done.
Yeah. So again, blatantly flaunting the rules,
but not going to parties. Yeah, but not going to like parties or anything.
You don't think that you would have gone to?
I wouldn't have been like congregating in public to get a burger.
You don't think that you wouldn't have not gone to a COVID party at 17? You hear about and all the hot babes that are going to be at COVID party, and you're telling me,
well, the hot babes,
you're telling me that you're going to be like, nah, look, I've been reading some articles online, guys, so I want you to just take a step back and think about your actions.
I don't think the kids are having COVID parties. I don't think there'd be any COVID parties. Now, if there was a COVID party and all the, quote, sexy babes were going
hot
to
babes,
it,
I think I said.
Hot babes were going to it, if all the hot babes were going to it and there was a COVID party, you know, I mean, frankly, I'd still go.
What, you mean today? Yeah, but that's after after 5 weeks of pulverizing.
Of
my
mattress.
I was going and sort of greatly damaging your hand in various ways.
Look, to be honest, it's the opposite. It's the opposite, right? I have forgotten what sex is like, so how can I possibly masturbate about it? It's an abstract notion now. You know, it's not something you can't really recollect it. It's kind of this abstract, it's this visual thing that you can't hear, or you can hear it, I guess, but you can't, you know, if it's on a screen, you're not really there. You can't feel it, you can't smell it. It's not the same. So,
well, that's what they say happens, you know, to people.
The motivation is low.
When they get old and you stop doing those things, they say that you actually do forget what they were like to do.
Yeah, well, of course, you know, and then eventually you forget what it's like, and so you don't crave it as much either. You're like, well, I can't miss something that I can barely fucking remember. I do vaguely recall it being good, although, you know, I do have some performance anxiety for the next time. You know, I assume it'll be, you know, quick and efficient. 2
weeks, my friend. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and then I can continue not having sex.
2 weeks.
What's going to change in 2 weeks? I'll still be an unemployed man in his late 30s. I'll still be an unemployed bald man in his late 30s. Don't worry. In 2 weeks, not much is going to change.
In 2 weeks' time, people will be going hell for leather because everyone's standards will have dropped, and that's
why would anybody's standards?
Because they haven't done it in 6 weeks.
Yeah, but the hot people will pair with the hot people, and the disgusting people will pair with the bald men in their mid to late 30s.
No, there's
the unemployed men in their late 30s.
There's always the scraps, my friend. There's always the runoff from each level. So the hot people, you will be there to pick up the scraps.
Yeah, so I've just got to be at the top of my
level to catch
scraps from
the
next
hot
level up.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of like attractiveness 100%, of this potential
100%.
mate. Yeah.
You got to figure it out.
All
so
right. That's what you want to aim for. You want to aim for the top of your level. You know, as a realistic goal. Your ultimate goal is to get like so rich that you go up levels. Or so charismatic or so funny or so successful or so whatever that you go up a level. But if you can't do that you should at least aim to kind of float to the top, like a buoyant, porous turd, you know, full of fibrous turd. You should always aim to kind of float to the top, bob to the top of your level.
Unflushable turd.
Yeah. Yeah. Bobbing around the top of the tank. That's what you want. Now, evidently I look virusy, because I walked past a woman and she was several meters away from me, and we were outside, and she covered her mouth with her sleeve just as she walked past me, and did it for the whole time she walked past me, and then put it back down again. Now, look, fair enough. I mean, you know, it's like a mask, I guess, right? But still, you know, evidently I look like the type that would probably have
you look like the COVID type.
I look like someone who doesn't wash his hands. You look like the bloody
COVID type.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, we're still in the grips of COVID, still deep in COVID land. And one thing that was of interest in the film industry is that AMC Theatres, which is like one of the big theater chains in America, has allegedly banned the distribution of Universal films. So Universal Pictures is a studio. They're probably most famous at the moment for releasing the beloved Fast and fucking Furious franchise. So that's kind of what their big blockbuster is at the moment. So anyway, what happened is they released a kids film called Trolls World Tour. Now, are you familiar with the Trolls, with the hair and the little dolls?
Yeah, the troll dolls. So, yeah, I'm familiar with the troll dolls.
This is a sequel to Trolls, which Trolls was released in theaters, and it was quite popular, and it did quite well. And so anyway, COVID-19 has hit. Nothing's coming out at the theaters. Now, most big blockbusters are sort of being postponed or put off to release when they hope they'll be back in theaters. But some companies, some studios are sort of like, well, fuck it. Let's just put it online now because we get some revenue that way, streaming revenue. Yeah. So anyway, they put Trolls World Tour, which is the sequel to Trolls, on streaming. And allegedly, they made more money in 4 or 5 weeks of its streaming than they had in like 5 months of the original Trolls, including its theatrical run, allegedly. So, and
well, we got to get our film out.
So the response to that, well, I'll get to that, but the response to that was AMC Theatres was like, hey, Trolls was meant to be coming out in theaters with us, and you've betrayed that trust. And because you've betrayed that trust, we will no longer screen any of your films. So not just...
man. That's cutting... Isn't that cutting off your nose to spite your face?
Absolutely. But it's also kind of... It feels to me like the desperate tactic of a sort of a dying industry, you know, like this. The theater, like obviously they weren't doing amazingly before this. Now they're doing terribly. Streaming was always creeping into occupying the space that used to be for going to the theater, you know, and increasing, and less people go to the theater, more people see streaming, blah, 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 blah. But this is kind of like a true shots fired, like, oh, you're going to fuck us, we're going to fuck you then. But I just thought it was interesting because this is kind of an unprecedented thing. Like, you know, AMC Theatres might ban Pigville Productions from putting out their movie with them because we're just like we're those little turds at the bottom of, we're at the height of our bowl, but we're many levels below studios. We're floating well in our area.
But wait, what does our film have to do with...
So if we chose to flaunt, like, so if we'd made a deal with AMC Theatres and we'd be like, cool, it's releasing, and then COVID hits, we go, cool, it's not releasing, so we're putting it online streaming now. Sorry about that. They go, well, fuck you. You will never have another film with us. Would be bad for us. We'd be like, shit, we wanted to release films, but...
I see what you're saying.
But for them to do it to Universal Pictures, which is essentially one of the big 5 studios in the world, for them to go, well, from now on, nothing. We don't care about Fast and Furious.
Well, it just sounds like such a childish response.
Desperation.
It's all just so childish in these particular times. You know, like obviously these are crazy, unprecedented times. Crazy shit's going to happen. And obviously Universal didn't do it on purpose, but hey, look, there's a fucking pandemic. What can we do? We need to adapt. We've got a business model that we need to, you know, got to keep afloat and all that shit. What are we going to do? Okay, well, here's an idea. You can't blame him.
Well, I don't think you can blame him. And I also don't think, like, you know, talking about the new normals.
Everything's going online.
The new normal is probably going to have to be this idea that you can stream it or you can go to the theater and watch it. Like, you got your 2 options, but there's no windows. No one has any fucking windows.
What about this? You can stream it normally, or you can stream it in a 3D thing in the cinema. What about that? And you just pay 2 different prices.
Whatever, man. Look, I don't want...
Like a headset, a VR.
I don't want the cinemas to die. You know, and this has taken us one step closer to that, although I do think that there's always, you know... there's always going to be a want for people to sort of congregate in the same place and absorb the same thing and have a mutual appreciation for whatever we're all digesting at the same. So there will always be.
Well, that's what I miss. I miss that.
So there will be like your boutique cinemas and stuff like that that can still offer that. But maybe this is the dodo becoming extinct before our eyes with these theatre chains trying to put the hard word, and then it's just going to be like, well, cool. Well, you've just missed. But who knows? Look, I'll be interested to see, like, are we going to see a surge of people putting money into, because like you said, you missed that, right? So maybe you'll be more inclined to go to the cinema because you've had your fucking fill of every Netflix show, in your house. So maybe you want to have a popcorn and a Coke and like
and pay $50 by the time you get your ticket, you get your popcorn, you get your Coke, and you pay for your parking. That's just for one person. That's what it comes. Like, I literally spent about $50 to go to the movies by myself one time. I'm not kidding, because I didn't realize the parking was going to be so expensive.
And the fresh air. Don't forget the fresh air. But I still feel that you may be more inclined to see movies after this than you were right before it. True or false?
Well, look, only with a woman.
Man, you keep harping on about this woman thing. Jeez.
Yeah, well, it's all right for you, mate. Your girlfriend's literally in the background. She's cleaning up the house. She made the back of your shot look nicer halfway through. She shone a light for you on the wall to make it look nicer. She
put up some fairy lights.
She's put up some fairy lights for the studio behind you. And now she's cleaning up the kitchen, and she probably cooked fucking dinner. So
she bought some dinner. She brought some dinner home.
Like, it's easy for you up there on your high horse. Get down in the mud with me. Let's see how often you're talking about women. Okay, now the answer is no. I'm not going to the cinema all on my lonesome more, but it's also to do with the fact, a big part of it is to do with the fact that I've really had to tighten my belt. I haven't bought anything since we've gone day 3. Not a single coffee. I was looking forward to a coffee when we got to level 3. But then I was like, well, to get that coffee, I've got to send a text and I've got to go down the road. It's a block and a half. It's real easy. I could totally do it. But I'm like, well, why am I going out of my way to spend money when I'm literally an unemployed person? There's no reason to believe that any of my work's going to come back in the next 2 weeks. There's not really any reason, I believe, for my work to be coming back even in level 2 as far as I'm aware, which could be another 2 weeks, assuming that everything goes to schedule. Presumably it's going to be 2 weeks per level. I don't know. And then I don't even know about level 1. Like, a lot of the work I do is related to live events, big groups of people. It's either film festival stuff or it's like rugby events and live sporting events, or it's live like a live kids show where the kids are all running around all together, and so it's everything I do is based on live events. And so until we get big events,
everything you do has been the things that have been most affected by COVID-19. Like, exactly. the literally every single thing you listed are the things that have been truly crippled, whereas some things have been reduced, but it's okay, we get by. But the things that you're talking about are the things that are like, look, they just don't happen anymore. There's literally no sport in the world right now except chess or some shit online. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's very limited horse racing as well, which is another thing that gets broadcast a lot here, and who knows when horse racing is going to start up again as well, so there's all sorts of stuff that is like all the stuff that I normally work on live broadcasts, and these live broadcasts are not happening because there's nothing to broadcast. So I don't know what's going to happen, but probably I'm going to have to apply for a salary position somewhere, or figure something out, or change industries, or who knows what. But the point was that I am not spending money on coffees or movies because I'm an unemployed person.
Yes, it is a little bit grim. But speaking of our film, Older, I did just go through and select a whole bunch of production stills. Now that we have gone to level 3, that means that we can post things. We were waiting to post things. And there is only one final element left, which we're waiting on a couple of things with a poster. And when we get the poster...
So this is for our is for our second feature film, Older, which you can find out more about right now by going olderfilm.com right now, www.olderfilm.com, and you can see it there and see the trailer and all that stuff.
And I will say, I mean, I was just listening to a podcast today where they were talking about this filmmaking world, and they're like, look, if you've got something right now, you're in a very good position. If you have content right this very second, you really want to capitalize on that.
We really need to do next week. We need to do a premiere of No Caller ID. Now, what I would like to do is I'd like us to do an intro of it, and then we'd play it via Twitch. You know, we'd play it exactly over the same way as we're live streaming on the internet right now. We'd do an intro, we'd play the film, and then we'd do a Q&A afterwards. Now, what I would really like to do, though, is I would like to charge people for tickets to this thing. You know, it's the premiere, it's a Q&A and all that stuff, and we're figuring out how do we monetize what we do. That is content we can provide. It's a film that has not been aired ever before. Well, that's not entirely true, but it's our first time releasing it. It's our
We've
premiere,
never done a Q&A with it.
They can watch it with us. We've never done a, well, we probably did a bunch of Q&As at the festivals actually. I did. I'm sure I would have. Sure. Well, maybe not. Anyway, either way, the question is, would people bother paying for that? But maybe I could set it up behind just a koha paywall. So it's like just the minimum will be $1. You know, it's $1. But I'm just trying to think of ways that we can generate income, given that I am, as mentioned, an unemployed man. And we have this content, and how do you monetize it? How do you monetize that content? What, you know, like we can monetize it through ads, but would people pay for a 1-hour show? You, me, introduction, Guy and Harley podcast, play the film, Q&A afterwards. Thank you very much. Good night.
Well, do you put ads on these YouTube live streams?
So the way that all works is that you've got to have the you've got to be a partner to get generate the revenue. Some of it, you've got to reach a certain level to start getting money. And so we get a little bit of money from our Pigville account because that is a YouTube partner. But this account has only got 104 subscribers. So basically we can't monetize it properly until we get enough followers and enough watch time and all that type of thing, which is why it's super important that listeners go to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe. They go to YouTube and search for the Guy and Harley podcast and subscribe to our channel. That actually really helps us. And once we get our stats up enough, then we can apply to monetize it properly. The alternative would be if we went live on the Pigville channel, then probably this would be monetized. But I don't want to have our Guy and Harley podcast stuff all mixed up with our Pigville stuff. We used to do that, and I ended up deleting them all and moving it all over to this channel. That's kind of the whole point. So yeah. Now I have sort of, this is kind of related to that, is I've been immersed in Doom Eternal recently. And I've also been playing video games.
Is that related to finishing creating deliverables for our feature film?
Okay. Oh, go for that. All right. I was just going to finish by saying that, like, on Twitch, like, basically I live stream games there a little bit on our Twitch. And the reason why is to get our broadcasting hours up for that very same reason, you know? And so if you want to support Pigville, come along and watch me play video games poorly on this channel. And hopefully it's not annoying for them. I don't know. Maybe it is. It's good for the channel, though. We recently reached 500 hours on Twitch, and we've only got 160 episodes, right? So how do we get 500 hours on Twitch? And the answer is because I've found a hack on Twitch, which is if you do a rerun, you can set up a 24-hour rerun. So every time we do a show, I set up a 24-hour rerun of the last 15 episodes. And apparently that counts towards your total broadcasting hours because we just reached 500 and our next one will be 1,000. But anyway, you want to deliver some deliverables.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that we are essentially a poster away from posting all the deliverables off to our sales agent / distributor, and at which time they will decide upon a release date, and at which time we will decide upon a release date here in New Zealand, and at which time the film will be released. So we're really just hanging on this one thing to get us through.
And I've seen a few of the posters, but they all got sent back. You weren't happy with them. You sent them back to the guy that makes posters. He said, I don't like any of these 3 posters.
Yep.
What else you got?
Not happy.
Then what happened?
He sent me some more, and I said I wasn't happy with those either.
Right. You didn't send me those ones.
No, well, I wasn't even worth it.
Yeah, you were like, no.
It's just a straight up no for me. But we don't even need those posters because we do have a poster, but we just need some certain things done to that poster. It's not even so much that we need this new. I mean, either or. I'm just waiting for a friggin' poster. And so if we can get that, that would be really cool because it all starts with delivering the deliverables. And then that's all done. But we also have Immi The Vegan, and we haven't really discussed this off air, but I'm just wondering why we haven't been submitting that to people just at the moment. You will probably have an update on that.
Well, we're waiting for an EPK to be made, basically. We can submit it with just the episodes if we want. And there's a poster there's some posters that have been made. I'm not sure if they've been approved by the writer director or not, but there's a few posters that have been made. And there's the episodes and all that stuff. And basically, though, we just don't have sort of a package yet. But I've been compiling a list of commissioners of New Zealand broadcasters, basically to send it to all of them. So I've got their email addresses, their names and email addresses. And so basically, I'm waiting to have this EPK, and then we can send it. Now, the other thing we could do is just do it without an EPK, an electronic press kit, which sort of summarizes everything about the show and how we'd sell it and what it is and who's behind it. But we could just submit it with just the episodes and a poster and sort of a one-pager. Like a one-pager would probably even be fine for a show that's already complete. You know, it doesn't need to be a full-on thing like you're applying for funding. Like the one we did for the family is very in-depth, and the one with, that type of thing, whereas we're trying to sell this, we're trying to sell older, we're not trying to get funding for it. So I feel like it doesn't need to be quite as in-depth. It can just be a good solid one-pager that gives you the concept, and you've got the trailer, and you've got the poster, and then you've got the links to all the episodes. So we could start sending it out, but basically I'm just sort of waiting on this EPK to come through. And that's it. Because
we've missed the lockdown surge for content.
Yeah, we have. Well, the other thing is we should have released No Caller ID right at the beginning of lockdown. It's a perfect film. Hey, you're home alone. Watch this scary film about being home alone. You're trapped inside. Ooh, but we didn't. The thing is that it's not just a matter of just like, well, you can, we can just up and just poop it out onto YouTube. But I feel like we need to have some sort of plan. We need to have a meeting and be like, the people involved have a meeting and be like, okay, cool. So what's the first step? And when should we release the trailer versus when should we release the first episode? And when should we release the poster? And when should we release this? And when should all that type of thing. But the goal would be anyway to send it first to these commissioning people, have them hurry up and either buy it or not. And then we can kind of get on with it.
Yep. No, I think we should try and get that over the line to those commissioners because they're only going to get less inclined to give us money. As now tragedy has struck the New Zealand television industry. Shortland Street has commenced production again. Now that we're down to level 3 lockdown laws. So somehow they've deemed Shortland Street a fucking essential service.
It's essential. It's essential. It's essential for those people that are eating at McDonald's and panic buying, waiting at McDonald's at 3 a.m. and panic buying toilet paper. They need fucking Shortland Street or they're going to tear us all apart.
So apparently they're working like a reduced schedule. And it's only going to be 3 days a week, and there's a skeleton crew, and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, really, guys, of all the fucking things that could come back for us to digest and watch, does it have to be the mindless pap that is fucking Shortland Street?
I would like to formally distance myself from the comments of Guy Pigden in the episode 165 of the Guy and Harley podcast. Shortland Street is a excellent.
Still hanging on for that audition.
So something that New Zealand should be proud of. It's going to go down as a part of New Zealand's history. A truly iconic show, and a real feat to create it on such a tight turnaround. Such an ambitious show with so much happening on such a tight turnaround. Very incredible talent. Incredible talent.
I will say, in all honesty, for the people that get for the crew and the actors and all that stuff, obviously it's a good thing that Shortland Street is back.
Well, it's good news for me because it's less people competing, for my job.
But I really feel like that this has somehow been prioritized and pushed way the fuck up the ladder, and they've had a fucking government meeting about Shortland Street, and they've had a sit down with Jacinda Ardern, and they were like, what are we going to do about the Shortland Street problem? Because we need to make more episodes or we'll have to stop with the Shortland Street. And they're like, well, we can't have this.
Imagine if there was a Shortland Street cluster.
Yeah. Well, they're basically like, look, we can't have this no Shortland Street. That is absolutely, we can't have this mediocre soap just stop for a while. That's absolutely out of the question. We have to keep it running. We're going to ask for a government injunction, declare us an essential service. It's kind of like what's happened in the States where they've declared fucking WWE wrestling as an essential service as well, which I also like. I'm obviously a huge wrestling fan, and I do not fucking agree.
That's a little fishy, right?
Well, look, we want to go a step further. It just so happens.
Well, obviously, there's some nepotism here, right? Vince
McMahon is on the cabinet of advisors to discuss when it's going to be a good time to ease restrictions on COVID-19.
What a world we live in.
The guy that once fought God on a wrestling pay-per-view and lost. And in fact, had a battle of the billionaires where he fought Donald Trump at a WrestleMania. So look, that's stupid that the WWE is it's not safe. Everyone's in very close contact. I don't care about all the things that you're doing. You basically have sweaty wrestlers manhandling each other and traveling in to do this. Like, this could easily be a WWE cluster. And I also don't really agree with... look, the Shortland Street thing is fine, but I just wish that we were getting some other local productions going that weren't Shortland Street as well.
Start somewhere.
Well, why start at Shortland Street?
That's a good... because it's the New Zealand's most successful, longest running, a very highly consumed, much loved...
The McDonald's. It's the McDonald's of New Zealand television, Harley.
It is the McDonald's of New Zealand television, but the difference is it only provides moral support. So that's okay. These people would just receive... Imagine the mental health issues if they took away Shortland Street.
Imagine the mental health gains if they took away Shortland Street.
No. Now, if Shortland Street ever disappeared, that would be a really sad day for the New Zealand television industry, because that employs so many people, and and it's a huge stepping stone. Timuera Morrison, Carl Urban, maybe. Was he in
I
that?
Think so.
No, Martin Henderson, definitely Martin Henderson.
Yeah, he was there.
These are successful New Zealand actors that got their start right there.
Michael Hurst, our best friend, Michael Hurst. Look, to be honest, I'm just having a laugh, really. I think it's good that they're making stuff, but like I said, I was just really kind of hoping for some alternatives, because I'm sadly, what's worse than Shortland Street is reality TV, and that's the next one that's going to kick the fuck back in if it hasn't already.
Well, yeah, it'll kick in, and it's so cheap and easy to run, and you can do it with relatively small crews, and you can do it with small, like a lot of it is set in one place. Yep. Like, for example, the block is building in one place. So, or, Big Brother is obviously an ideal one. They'll do COVID Big Brother.
Yeah.
Where you go into Big Brother during the COVID crisis, and you don't get any information for 6 weeks or whatever about what's happening in the outside world. You don't know if they're dropping nukes. You don't know what the fuck's going on out there.
I mean, that's a good idea for a film, Harley. That start bit, which obviously is based... Well, I know it's based on those people that weren't told about COVID-19 for a good long time, but add the drop of nukes bit in when they come out. That's my... That would be where I'd go with that. And it's true in apocalyptic wasteland when they come out. That would be the good shit.
Yeah. Well, it would be cool if eventually they're like, shouldn't they let us out of here by now? And they haven't let them out, and they start starving. And then so they break their way out. And that's when they see what's happened.
Mate, we've just come out with our next fucking film right here. So jot that down.
There it is.
There you go. Well, that's copyrighted.
So it's us all in one location. Very easy to shoot.
Well, but
then does most of the story happen in that location, and then the end you reveal what's happened, or is the story set in the post-apocalyptic world? Because if it's set in the post-apocalyptic world, we're gonna need a little bit of.
I was more thinking that the first quarter is in the Big Brother house, then they go out and they're like, holy fucking shit, you what?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's really, really interesting. Yeah.
Well, we could go and find some post-apocalyptic looking places to film. You know, there's some rundown old buildings and stuff to go and film in.
Yeah, well, that's good. So copyright, the Guy and Harley podcast,
Pigville Productions.
Pigville Productions 2020. Thank you very much. Don't steal that one. That's where we're at. So that's cool. Yeah,
I watched a couple of I watched a couple of movies. The first one I watched was called Planet of the Humans. It's a documentary presented by Michael Moore, and it's about the electric industry. Well, it's about the businesses and the money behind the electric and sustainable revolution, and how it's really depressing because this guy's on our side. He's not somebody who wants to tear down this stuff, but basically he's pointing out that all of the electric stuff we do is all backed up and built upon fossil fuel industry. So, for example, creating solar panels is made from the glass and all that stuff, and that glass all emits carbon when it's being created. And Teslas are created of aluminium, and that is very carbon intensive to create and all that type of thing. And then a lot of the factories where a lot of the stuff is created are running off electricity, but that electricity is generated by coal powered places and stuff like that. So actually it's kind of a big facade, and they're not really also doing as much you can't generate as much electricity as you need from solar power and sun and wind and all that type of thing. And so it's quite depressing, but I still think that electric is the way to go. It's still the right choice, and we're still working, we're working our way through it. We're currently transitioning, but if at the moment, everything he says in it is kind of true as far as I'm aware. And so it's a little bit depressing, but probably worth watching. Go watch it. Planet of the Humans. It's a bit of a concern. Turns out it levels some accusations of corruption and so on at Al Gore, and that even his documentary was actually about promoting the use of alternative bio resources. But these, I can't remember what they called it exactly, but these bio resources is meant to be live biofuels. I think they call them biofuels. It's it's chopped down sugar cane and shit like that. But really what that means is, so the companies behind creating this energy are the people that used to invest in coal, and now they're just investing in chopping down trees and so on, and planting sugar cane and so on. And so instead of getting energy from black stuff under the ground, we're getting it from green stuff above the ground. But it's still just as bad type thing, but they're calling it biofuel or whatever, but it's actually a totally ungreen, unsustainable sham. We've just started chopping down trees instead, which is the thing that catches carbon out of the atmosphere.
Yes, well, look, that's a very interesting topic and concept, because one of the books that I read, or articles that I read, sort of talk about, it's yes, we are talking about this, quote, clean energy or electric this and all that thing, but a lot of those things, as you said, all have a cost at the sort of the back end that we don't see, that are sometimes quite a lot more than what their ultimate resource becomes, like that car or whatever that thing is.
Yeah, or even the Tesla factory, the Gigafactory. They said it would be completely run off solar and renewable energy and stuff like that, but it still has to be plugged into the system. So even though it's running off renewable and solar stuff, it has to be plugged into the system, because if the wind dies or the sun goes behind a cloud, then they need to obviously maintain their power, consumption. And so they've got to be connected to the power grid. But the thing about the power grid is that if you are connected to it, it has to sit there idling, ready to go when the sun disappears. So it's idling. This power station is essentially idling to support, and it's running off coal or whatever, and it's idling to support, this renewable, sustainable thing. But it's still kind of there, and mitigating the good work, undoing the good work.
We've just got to go nuclear, bro.
Well, I used to be against that, but I think you're right. It makes total fucking sense. We go nuclear. The bad issues, we've got some leftover waste that we've got to get rid of.
Blast into space.
Into space, send it to the sun. But that nuclear waste is probably a smaller problem than the entire climate warming.
Yes, it's
the entire all of this shit. We're probably better to deal with a bit of waste which we bury in the desert and bloody wherever than that.
Some giant Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are a problem that we can deal with. From a bit of nuclear waste, that's fine. But permanent climate change, nope, that's not going to work. So we'll deal with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and their Master Splinter.
You got it.
Yeah, I'm with you. With you.
Yeah, I once said on the show that we were talking about how we wanted to die, and I said that the answer was I wanted to die an old man, warm in my bed. But actually, I've changed my mind about that. I've decided I want to die at ground zero of a nuclear explosion at the bottom of Queen Street. So...
Well, look, hopefully you get your wish. We can.
That's what I'm looking
for. Only hope you get your wish. So shout out to Jeremy, also watching on YouTube. He says he can't wait to see Otter in the cinema. Well, we can't wait to release it, but maybe you'll have to catch it streaming first. We'll see how we go in these COVID times. So yeah, look, I've talked about everything that I have to talk about. How about you?
Well, there was one other film I watched, actually, that I wanted to bring up that I thought you might actually enjoy. And it's possible you've seen it. I don't know. But I feel like if you had seen it, that I feel like you would have talked to me about it. But I watched on Netflix The Platform. Have you seen that?
No, I've seen the trailer for it, though. That's the foreign film about the levels of the thing, isn't it? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Looks very good.
So it doesn't really... Yes, it's really great. It doesn't really explain sort of... You see from the trailer that it's about some people who are trapped on a certain level, and all we know is that there's a lot of levels above them and there's a lot of levels below them, and we know it's kind of like a prison, and that's all we really know at that and when we start with the trailer. And so anyway, I watched it, and really, really good. I think I'm probably going to rewatch it at some point just to kind of pick up on all the things that I almost certainly missed, because it was worth it. Really great film, and I got recommended it by a friend, Adam St. John of Saint Media, and he said that it was really good, and I was like, okay, well, the trailer did look pretty good, but it put me off because it was dubbed. It's been dubbed, so I was like, fuck, I can't handle too much dubbing if it's not done very well, and so I didn't get around to watching it. But then Adam said to check it out, and I checked it out, and now I'm telling you to definitely check it out. I think it's really good. I think it's a great film. I can't really... when I finished watching that, I wasn't like, what would I fix about that? What would I change about that? I was like, you know what? Pretty fucking brilliant.
Did you watch it with the dub or subtitles?
No, so it's dubbed anyway, as far as I'm aware. So there's no subtitles. I just watched the dub, but the dub was good. That was what I was worried about, that the dub would be, sometimes they do a dub and it's like the performances are shitty and the dialogue's not quite right and stuff, but it was a high quality dub. So it was good. Totally watchable. Definitely check it out. The Platform on Netflix.
Speaking of dubs, I also encourage you, if you want to have a laugh, to watch I Survived a Zombie Holocaust on YouTube, the German dub.
Yeah, is that...
Last time I checked, that was...
I never flagged that because I wanted to be able to have access to it myself. That's the only reason I didn't delete it, was because I was like, well, that's the only place that I can see the German version.
There's so much humor in hearing the voices of these characters. Now,
I didn't like my voice. I didn't like the person that they used to dub my character. I didn't like the voice that they used.
Well, his voice was maybe deeper than yours.
Yeah, it was too deep.
But
Weasley talks like this.
It was...
Yep, that's me. Weasley.
It's just funny because, like, I've also lived with these characters for many, many years, editing it and listening to you guys and working on the edit and the performances and all that sort of thing, and obviously through the shoot and all that. So for me to then hear someone essentially trying to replicate your performance in a different language is fucking hilarious. It's so crazy. And obviously, look, let's be real for a second.
Have you got the link there? You should post it in the chat for these people to watch
the German language is funny. It's a funny language, okay? people sound funny when they speak German.
You keep talking and I'll find it for
you. So for me, periodically I'm checking how much I Survived a Zombie Holocaust is being pirated. And so I always go to YouTube to see if there's been any more uploads of it. And then obviously I see,
I just saw that I Survived a Zombie Holocaust is available on YouTube.
Yeah, it's available on YouTube Movies. So somebody,
you can watch it in English if you want to, and you'll be making somebody some money.
Well, I don't know if it's available in our region. If you actually,
I'm looking at it right now, and it says buy or rent. I mean, if I click on it, buy or rent, New Zealand, I can buy it for $27.99 in HD, $22.99 in SD, or $5.99 in HD to hire.
Sounds like a bit of a rip-off.
Which is, fuck yeah, $27.99.
That's
it's a
good film.
It's a good film, but it's an extortionate price for a file on a fucking computer. You know, I mean, they're not even going to let you download it. They're probably just going to they're going to give you access to watch it.
Yeah. Jeremy says, isn't it?
Yeah, so there it is. It's
Jeremy
available.
says, isn't it ironic that the German language is funny, but German people ...
are not.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, Jezza.
Recently, I work for a festival which will remain nameless for this conversation, for this topic. But actually, I did run a German short film night recently, and the responses were overall like very positive. There was a lot of really nice feedback, and everyone seemed happy. Everyone was good with it. But most of the films were comedies. They were sort of comedies, and I thought they were sort of a little weird, not weird like German humor is weird. So I was watching these German comedies and I was like, yeah, German humor is a little strange compared to mine. And so we got a little bit of feedback anyway, which was I got emailed this from a lady that said, the films couldn't have been a worse choice. What terrible, crappy films they were. A friend of mine watched them as well, and she's even more disappointed than myself. And I was like, it was harsh. I mean, everyone was happy. There was lots of really good feedback, but she was not feeling it. And so yeah, that's a shame. But they were sort of German humor, so maybe wasn't feeling that German humor. But she's got a German last name, so maybe she was like, this is not fun. You're taking the piss out of, well, I don't know, these German filmmakers out of German humor or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's really, really hard to please everybody. Now I actually had a look for this Zoom and I can't actually see it yet. So you'll have to find that guy and post it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/GuyAndHarley, if people want to watch it. Although, I mean, hell, do we really want? Well, I guess we might as well. Fuck it.
Well, it's the German version.
What we need to do though is we need to get our movie on our YouTube channel. It can be on YouTube. We don't care. We just need it on our YouTube channel, and we get the ad revenue. Fucking anything. You don't get shit.
Yeah, well, look.
Careful out there if you're selling your movie, people.
Well, look, yeah, be very careful. Now, I'm just doing a little bit of research. Apparently, this YouTube version of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust has been made available through Pinnacle Studios. Now, Pinnacle Studios are definitely not our distributor, and they're not our sales agent. Now, it could have been sold from our distributor to them. That is certainly possible.
Yeah.
It's just hard to fucking know because we don't get any details about our film. We just see other people making money off it.
Tells us shit. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little mystery there, but I'd love to know where that's coming from.
You click on it and it's a trailer which they've uploaded, but it's at least it's our trailer. It's not the American trailer. It's the New Zealand trailer, and it's their it's their trailer. Sorry, it's their upload. So they've uploaded our trailer to their YouTube movies page, and it's got a big description of it and everything. See, I would love to be able to share this, right? And share it on now. We can share this. People can watch it. I would love to promote this, but it's like,
what's the point?
The fuck am I promoting? These cunts getting fucking money. They're not giving us a cut. So why the fuck would I promote it for them? Obviously, the answer is I want people to see it. I want people to watch it. It would be great to be able to go to Facebook right now and go, hey guys, if you haven't seen it yet, look, check it out. You can hire it right now. for $5.99. So we might have to just share it and make them some money, because people should watch it at least.
We might have to send them an email and say, how are you guys selling this film?
What's going on? And are we getting paid for this?
Well, you know, I do just wonder, like, how hard is it for a YouTube studio to rip a fucking movie and go, here you go, guys, and start charging for it?
Comments. Here it is in the comments for the live streamers. Hopefully it comes through.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Via restream. Yeah, cool. So that is the link to buy I Survived a Zombie Holocaust on YouTube in New Zealand if you would like to watch it, which is great because we don't normally have such an easy link like that. Normally it's like iTunes, and people have got to sign up for an iTunes account or something. You just show up. Everyone's got a Gmail account. Boom.
Disturbing to me. I'm not sure about that one.
Well, I'll hold off on sharing it until you have investigated. But basically, I think we should probably share that and get people watching. Because the options are get people in New Zealand watching or don't. And we've got to wait 2 more years before we get the rights back. So we can't wait 2 more years. It's a 10-year-old film by then. So
I'm sure it will age brilliantly.
I think it might do, with the exception maybe, you know, the gay joke and, you know, other things like that.
What gay joke?
The social justice warriors will jump on. Was one of the characters in the film is rumored to be gay, and he ends up sleeping with the characters in the movie, and he makes a joke about being gay. He says, "I'm totally not gay," and then there's a picture of a magazine, a gay magazine. He's got a gay magazine on his table, and he covers it up.
Oh, you can't. That's just.
Well, that's too bad.
That's just life.
Not too bad. He's just
a leading action man that does not
swings both ways,
and that does not want. He thinks it will be damaging to his career, as many leading men have throughout the course of Hollywood history. I mean,
but he obviously swings both ways.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Cool. Well, thank you, fucking Pinnacle Studios, for stealing our film, and that's very nice. Well, appreciate that.
The next report will get paid. You never know. Okay. All right. So I guess we'll wrap it up then. So thanks everybody for listening. And if you want to help us, you really can by going to YouTube, finding the Guy and Harley podcast. You're probably already watching on YouTube anyway. Make sure you hit thumbs up. Make sure the same on Twitch. That really helps us as well. These are both places that can generate revenue for us eventually. And the other fun.com/Pigville and give us $1 a month, or however much. When I take over doing the broadcast, which soon, I will play my crawl, which is says thank you to all of the Patreon supporters. Go patreon.com/Pigville. You can give us $1. And the other thing you can do is you can donate beer money for next episode. You can go to paypal.com, and all you need is the email is pigvilleproductions@gmail.com, and you can make a donation, you know, of your choice, which will go towards the beer supplies for next episode, or whatever expenses we have. But probably the beer. Other than that, stay safe out there, kids, and make sure you tune in next Thursday at 7 p.m.
And make sure you practice your social distancing. You know, don't go crazy for a burger. Be patient.
Don't do it.
There are many.
You despicable shitbags.
There are many healthier alternatives, like Hell's Pizza. All right. Okay.
It's a good company. Support it.
All right. See you later, guys. Thank you.